Topping today's news, the government holding firm to its new price control list. The Ministry of Finance reveals financial statistics for the month of August. The former Prime Minister weighs in on the BPL fuel hedging row, and the Ministry of Education introduces a new primary school curriculum for language arts. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jarino Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. It's a pleasure to have you join us. With the new price margin set to begin on November 1st, and the government having already spoken with retail grocers and pharmaceutical retailers and wholesalers, Minister of Economic Affairs Michael Halkitis, speaking with reporters at the office of the Prime Minister's weekly cabinet briefing, clarified that the government is not negotiating but holding off on enforcing the new price control orders until they have heard from the previously mentioned stakeholders.
They expressed similar sentiments about notice and being given an opportunity to make the adjustment. Of course, they did not agree with the new margins, but we stressed to them that this is a temporary measure in the first instance that we will review afterwards, and we committed to look at some other things that impact their business. So what we have agreed, the retailers did ask for an extension to the 28th, which is this Friday, in order to get to us some suggestions on how we can, achieve what we're trying to achieve, i.e. bringing down prices and minimize the impact on them. We're waiting to receive that. As of now, I haven't received it as yet. And so what we indicated was that, Friday is the 28th. What we will do is we'll give until November 1st, and beginning November 1st, we'll expect that the new margins will be in effect in the retail pharmacies as well as the retail stores.
When questioned on the enforcement of price control, Minister Halkitis says that the department will continue making sure that retailers comply to price control as they have been doing unfailingly, especially so to ensure the new price control regulations are enforced.
The idea is that, we're not coming down with a heavy hand, so to speak, a sledgehammer, but we just want to ensure that the regulations are being met. And we think that this time, it will be approximately 2 weeks since the amendments were made that we will be doing the enforcement, and we think that's adequate time to make the adjustment. And as we said, in the first instance, it's a temporary measure. We understand everything the businesses have told us about the potential impact on their bottom line and the cost and how it's affecting everybody. But what we stressed as well is that the government has made some efforts on its behalf, and this is an effort to ensure that the things that we're doing trickle down and reach the actual consumer who's the target.
The Economic Affairs Minister says business owners requested a consultation period before the government finalized their decision. However, Minister Halkitis explains that the extension was granted, so it cannot be said that they were not given time to make the necessary adjustments. Finance officials released the monthly fiscal report on government operations for the month of August 2022. The Ministry of Finance, in a statement, revealed that during August, revenues increased by $17 million, or by 9.4% to $197.8 million compared to the prior year. The improved performance is largely attributed to an increase in revenue collection from international trade and transaction taxes. However, according to finance officials, month-over-month revenue decreased by some 24%, or $62.6 million, largely due to seasonal trends of lower VAT receipts from August as domestic consumption eased with more summertime travel. Total expenditure increased by 6.9%, or $15.3 million to $237.4 million compared to the prior year. The government's fiscal position for August 2022 results in a $39.7 million deficit and an increase in the net debt position by $8 million. The ministry invites the public to visit the National Budget website at www.bahamasbudget.gov.bs to view the statistical reports available to the public. The Davis administration has bungled the Bahamas Power and Light Fuel Hedging Initiative, and as a result, Bahamians now face crippling increases in electricity bills. This according to former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis. He was speaking during debate in the House of Assembly on Wednesday as the official opposition and the government continue to disagree on the BPL fuel hedge matter. In this next report, we hear more of what the former Prime Minister had to say about the rising cost of electricity. For months now, the government and the official opposition have vehemently disagreed on the circumstances surrounding BPL's fuel hedging opportunity to lock in a long-term low price and whether the opportunity was squandered following the PLP taking over as government in September 2021. Former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis is convinced the opportunity to save Bahamian homeowners and businesses lots of money on electricity bills was lost as a result of the Davis administration's inaction.
This administration has mishandled the situation, and Bahamians now face punishing increases in their electricity bills.
Dr. Minnis recalled how the government, when it was in opposition, scolded the then F&M government for only considering a minimal increase in electricity cost, but now themselves have caused for an even greater increase in the cost of electricity. He compared the approach of his then the People's Time administration to that of the New Day Davis administration in regards to keeping BPL a profitable company by raising the price of electricity.
The People's Time was increasing BPL's bill by 30%. It's a New Day who's increasing it by 163%. So, Madam Speaker, it's not the People's Time. It's a New Day, 163%. Madam Speaker, if 30% increase will take you into a recession, only God knows where 167% will take us. Depression. It is intolerable. It is a nightmare, atrocious and egregious. Madam Speaker, it will take us straight into hell with the summer coming soon.
Dr. Minnis says his administration had a plan that would have saved the BPL and the people of the Bahamas lots of money if only the Davis administration had executed the plan that was left in place.
We had a plan. I want to read from an email communication, December 9, 2020. I'll speed up now. To the chairman, the hedges approved by the board were finally executed as per the final orders below. Our settled price was below the maximum premium price granted to IDB. These new hedges allow BPL to have a fuel charge at or below 11.5 cents per kilowatt hour through March 2024, Madam Speaker.
Earlier this month, BPL announced a 4-stage increase in monthly fuel charge with a 2 cents increase for customers who consume less than 800 kilowatt hours, which equates to approximately an extra $20 per month. And for those who consume more than 800 kilowatt hours, the increase will be 4.3 cents in each stage. Meanwhile, to ease the impact of the fuel increase, the government announced that all electrical bills below $400 will not be subject to VAT. That is an increase from $300. Customers can expect to see the first increase reflected on their November light bills. The Department of Education launched its third curriculum for language arts grades 4 to 5 and primary computer studies grades 4 to 6. Deputy Director of Education Ms. Sharon Poitier, while giving an overview of the curriculum, says the module was designed to give students the skill set needed for the 21st century learning and preparing them for careers that have not yet been created.
The curriculum is an essential component of any educational system, often referred to as the heartbeat of the system. What is taught and how it is taught prepares our students for life and work in the 21st century and beyond. Our goal here in the Department of Education is to produce that 21st century graduate who not only possesses relevant knowledge in core subjects such as mathematics, language arts, science, and technology, but one who can think critically, who can communicate effectively, who can utilize cross-cultural skills, and who demonstrates integrity and ethical behavior at all times.
The new curriculum will identify learning outcomes, standards, and core competencies that students must demonstrate before advancing to the next level. Acting Director of Education, Mrs. Dominique Russell, says it will take a collaborative effort between all stakeholders to ensure Bahamian children receive a quality education.
We must, as a country, ensure that there is excellence for each child, in each classroom, in each school. That we should ask at the end of every lesson, as a result of my teaching, what do students know? What are students able to do? And what assessment strategies are we employing to ensure that students do know and they can do?
Minister of Education Glenys Hannah Martin salutes teachers and writers of the new curriculum, deeming them molders and shakers of the future generation.
We know that we have a lot of work to do. The important thing, though, is that we understand that as designers, as architects, that is our obligation to create and craft, to monitor and measure, because we know what it is that we wish to develop. We want to create young people, children, who are our most precious resource. They dictate the qualitative state of this nation when we are off the scene. We don't want to leave a jungle. We want a beautiful, spectacular state. And our children are critical to this process of a future. And we want to develop them in a way in which they feel good about themselves and they feel empowered as humans in their capacity and their abilities. But we want to do more than that because it's the nature of who we are.
And finally, in this segment, President of the historically black Morehouse College, Dr. David Thomas, and his team paid a courtesy call on Minister of Education and Technical and Vocational Training, Glenys Hannah Martin, last week. Dr. Thomas stated that Morehouse, which is located in Atlanta, Georgia, is interested in partnering with the University of the Bahamas to provide student exchange opportunities between the two countries, including full academic and athletic scholarships and $15,000 worth of grant opportunities to qualified Bahamian students. Minister Hannah Martin and State Minister Zane Lightbourne expressed keen interest in performing arts, music, academics, and athletic scholarships for qualified Bahamian students. President Thomas said Morehouse is currently rolling out a college soccer team, theater, and performing arts program, and there are many opportunities for scholarships. It was mutually agreed that Morehouse and the Ministry of Education via the University of the Bahamas will work through requirements, needs, and any obstacles to form a partnership to benefit Bahamian students. Additionally, President Thomas expressed an interest in bringing some of Morehouse athletic programs to the Bahamas for competition and off-season relaxation. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.